It's time to install this flooring. Let's hop to it.
Before I could start laying my first few rows of flooring, I needed to undercut the door jambs in this area so that I could slide the flooring underneath for a really finished look. And the way that I do this is just use my multi-tool, and I'm using a scrap piece of the flooring to get the height correct, and then I'm just basically knocking the pieces out. I didn't realize I hadn't gone all the way through. That's why it looks like I'm struggling here, but I promise it's actually so much easier than this. And hypothetically, you could cut the flooring like to butt up right against the trim and not do that, but it's gonna look really ugly and you're gonna be able to see the expansion gap. It's just gonna look horrible. So trust me, undercut your door jambs. Now I'm starting in the entryway and with a full piece. You may do it differently. Here's why I chose to do it this way. So I measured all of my rooms and then I used the exact width of my plank, which you can find on your flooring's box. Mine was, I think, 5.91 inches. And I divided that by like the inches of each of my rooms to see how many planks and like what it would look like if I laid flooring different ways. Like, am I gonna have the teeniest tiny cut up against the wall when I get into the big hallway or when I float it into this room? And I found that if I did the spacing properly, that I could start with a full piece, float it into this room, and then once I get to the back of this room, I will also have a full piece and not have to cut it. And it was also going to give me basically a really smooth transition from the entryway to the long hallway that you guys will see eventually in this video. At this point, it was taking so much longer than I had anticipated because since I'm floating it through the entire house, I also had to lay these pieces backwards. And it is a tongue and groove system, not only on the sides, but also at each end of it, which some floors are a drop-in lock at the end, so you just tap it in. This one was not like that. So I was learning how to do the floor for the first time, really, and also having to lay it backwards and move it to make sure it was good. And I was getting really overwhelmed, and I was like, what have I got myself into? Until I realized, oh my gosh, I have done the math correctly. Thank goodness, not all is lost. I am rejuvenated now because I will not have to make a bunch of crappy cuts up against that wall. And I was like, all right, this is gonna be worth it.
Well, it took me many hours last night to get not even completed with the first 4 rows, but I will say I learned a lot last night. Today, I think it's gonna go a lot better, and I did the math correctly. I'm hoping that my math is correct when it comes to the end of the hallway. Getting started is always the hardest part because you really need to make sure that the first few rows are good and in line and everything, because that is going to seriously determine the rest of your floor. So, did I want it to take like 5 hours? No. Did it? Yes, and that's okay, because today I hope we're gonna be flying. It is 11:36 a.m. currently. Let's try to get through this room by like 2 o'clock, hopefully.
Spoiler alert, I did not finish this room by 2 p.m. I didn't even finish it that day. Oh, I was so cute for thinking that. You know, I'm always a little time blind and naive when I start a new DIY project. I don't know if it's like my sheer determination or like my ADHD time blindness, or I just have the audacity. I don't know, but it is what it is. Now, I definitely think this flooring was more difficult to install than the flooring I had gone with in the lake house. But I've been getting a lot of questions about that because people on the short form were like, hey, it looks like this one was a bit harder. Why did you choose this one? Would you still recommend this one over the one you put in your first house? And I realized like I never really talked about it. So, okay, I still love my first flooring. I loved it. It was the easiest LVP to install probably ever, okay? I loved the color, I loved the durability, I loved everything about that floor. There was one thing that drove me a little bit insane, and it is that because it was a loose lay, and all this is like totally normal, by the way. There's like nothing wrong with that floor. But all LVP, because it's plastic, expands and contracts. That's why you see those little spacers I have up against the trim there. That's about a 1/4 inch spacer so that when the weather changes and stuff, the flooring has a room to expand and contract. Now, I did the same thing at the lake house with those floors, but sometimes it wouldn't expand or contract underneath my quarter round like this one's going to do because they weren't clicked together, and it would give me little gaps in the floor that were really easy to fix. I just used some painter's tape and pulled it, but like it bugged me that I had to keep doing that. So that's specifically why I went with a click and lock floor system this time. I knew it was going to be more difficult to install, but I knew that when it expanded and contract, because they are all clicked together on all sides, the only place where you're going to get that gap is where it's really supposed to be, which is underneath the quarter round. Now, it's so up to you. Do you want an easier install and maybe a little bit more maintenance over time? Like, I'm being dramatic about it, but I have ADHD, and like little things like that to me kind of add up. And then, or do you want a more difficult install and, you know, less chances of that happening? So that's why I did it. I still recommend both floors. They are both really durable, both really beautiful, and honestly, I would still say this floor is beginner friendly. It's just not as beginner friendly as the loose lay. You will see me periodically lay down on the floor, take a little breather, stretch, because even though it looks like I'm going fast, it was a long time. Guys, at this point, I had been live streaming for about 3 days, and most days I was live streaming for like 12 hours with very minimal breaks to get this floor done. I did also throw a few extra screws right here in the subfloor because it was squeaking, and that really made like a world of difference. I also had to undercut a bunch of door jambs because this long hallway that I'm about to start laying flooring in attaches to basically every other room in the house some way. And I also got a lot of questions on why I didn't lay the flooring a different direction. This hallway is one of the major factors as to why. You can choose to lay your flooring however you want. I wanted it to be the same as the living room, so it would look a little bit cohesive, because we're not planning on changing those floors out, at least right now. And also, this is our longest stretch of hallway in the entire house, so doing the length of the boards this way just made the most sense. It would have also looked really, really weird if you walked in and the flooring ran the opposite direction for like this whole part of the house, and then you went into the living room, which has a little step down, and that was going the other way. Like, that just didn't make sense to me. So that's why I did it like that. You can do it, you know what, you guys can do it however you want. And I'm telling you that because people were like really roasting me. It doesn't matter what people say, do what you want. Also, I'm not using an underlayment because it's attached. And you can use another one if you want. I didn't. I chose to spend my time stretching and installing the floors, and I knew that adding another layer of underlayment was just going to make my process a lot more expensive and a lot more time consuming. So I chose to go without it. You don't need it because it's attached, but again, totally up to you. We did remove a little bit of the carpet in the bottom tack strip, and then also the transitions to like the bathroom there and the kitchen. We will be doing the stairs, just not right now because I have to order or find the stair treads that match it. I thought about hypothetically doing this trick I saw online and bending the floor to make them myself, and I was like, Lexi, calm down. We don't need to do all that. Who knows? I might do it, but the floors aren't getting done, or the stairs aren't getting done in this video. Now, at this point, I'm getting a little delusional. It's been days and days of work. My back is on fire. I've got metal music on, and basically the only reason that I was like somewhat sane is one, Dustin, and two, all of you sweet baby angels that were on these live streams with me, like just being so sweet and so encouraging. Like, I can't even tell you guys how much that helped me, so just thank you for that. And if you see Dustin standing there on his phone, it's because he's reading comments from the live stream because he is a sweet bean, and we love him for that. The long hallway that we were just working in at this end has our laundry room, which is also like the entrance to our primary bedroom. So I pretty much finished that, except I didn't do the cuts that were underneath the door jambs because I'm gonna wait until we do our primary bedroom in a few months to finish that up. And then on the other end is this little area, which is our garage entrance. This is at the other end, and it's a bathroom. This is just like a little storage closet, and then there's the stairs which go to the room over the garage, and also the entrance on the right to the kitchen, and then you see the other hallway that goes to the bedrooms. So a freaking long hallway, and I just had to make sure that I kept it together, basically, because at this point I didn't know what the math was going to look like, and I did not know what my cuts were going to look like up against the other wall.
It's day 5 of laying flooring, and I know I haven't been talking to the camera too much. It's because I've just been crying. The other day when I told you, I really want to get this room done by 3 o'clock, I didn't finish it till the next day. The door jams are really sending me in this area that I'm in right here. We have about 17 million of them. So those cuts are really fun, but you know what? It's all going to be worth it in the end. I do have to lay some of these pieces backwards in this closet, and then the entire dining room, which should be such a joy. I just wanted to pop in here and say, hey, thank you for watching the video. If you've made it this far, you're a real one. All right, back to it then.
Oh my goodness, guys. You can tell how tired I was. And I was also getting frustrated because it was really hard to film right here and have like my live phone set up because it was like a tiny little hallway. Also, like not even really much room to work anyway with my LVP cutter and all of that. So I was like, I was struggling. But you know what? I'm making it seem so much more difficult than it actually is. It's just like, you have to be willing to realize that you are learning a new skill, and that is going to take trial and error. And especially when you're doing, 2 other jobs like filming and live streaming and trying to be entertaining and answering people's questions and all of the things, which I really enjoy, and it helps me like get through the process, but it does also like slow it down. So if I'm scaring you, don't be scared, okay? You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. You might cry, but that's okay. And just when you get to the door jams, you'll figure it out. I promise. Now, in this hallway, I had to lay it in backwards, which honestly, that wasn't too bad for this particular hallway. Also, I'm considering turning this into a second laundry room and putting another all-in-one in here because it's on like the opposite side of the house. You guys let me know if you think that's a good idea. Anyway, this was probably the worst situation I had, was this door jam. It was very difficult. Every time something like that happened, I was like, I need to take a lay on the floor. I need to breathe. I need to get it together. But a fun fact about filming it was I realized that anytime I had a major issue, it took me about 33 minutes to solve it. So I just had to tell myself I can get through the 33 minutes and then I will have this problem solved. And then by this point, it was like when I encountered a problem, it would take me 22 minutes and then 12 minutes. And you're seeing right there is the optional underlayment that goes with this floor that is like the same brand. And I'm using it to level out this weird piece I had. I could have done like leveling cement. I just don't prefer that. And that works really, really great. At this point, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, nothing can stop me. I have learned how to do this. I'm getting so much better at it. This is the easy part of the floor. All I have to do is really pick the pieces that I want to use, do one simple cut on either end, and I am doing it. Like, we're having a great time on live. Taylor Swift had just announced that she is dropping an album in October. I am literally living my best life. I'm like, I've hit my stride. Nothing can stop me until disaster struck. And randomly, I have an allergic reaction. My lips start swelling up, my mouth is itchy, my face is getting hives on it, and I'm like, what's happening here? I didn't eat anything weird today. Apparently, I'm just allergic to working too hard or for too long. And the universe said, hey, girlie, if you're not going to sit down on your own accord, we're going to make you. And then we're going to make you have to take a Benadryl and sleep for 12 hours. Anyway, the next day, Taylor Swift put a sparkly little countdown on her website, and I get through the rest of this room in record time, like probably 30 minutes, because I'm like, if I don't get through this room, I'm not going to be able to see whatever's on her website or buy it or whatever. So I just haul ass through this room, and thank you to Taylor Swift, because I wish I had that motivation this whole time. Okay, at this point, we've got 3 rooms left to go. We have this guest bedroom that I'm starting right now, the hallway out in front of it that connects to it, and then the last guest bedroom. And by this point, really the only thing that was slowing me down was the door jams, and it just is what it is. And also, when you have to make smaller cuts, you want to do like little tiny cuts and take just like enough off to make a difference, because you can't put more back on. So you don't want to have to like waste a bunch of pieces. It's a whole thing, okay? Like I said, you guys will get a more in-depth tutorial on this when I do the primary bedroom, but my body was feeling it, okay? Not only have I been laying floors at this for like almost 2 weeks, but I also did competitive cheerleading for like 20 years, and my back will never recover from that. I also had a lot of injuries to my elbow and my shoulder that I had to have surgery on, and one that I should have had surgery on, but I didn't. And so I got a lot of like things wrong with my body, but I don't say that to be like, oh my gosh, woe is me. I'm just saying, was it a struggle? Yes, but could I do it? Yes. So if I can do it, you can do it too. Wear those knee pads though, okay? You're gonna kind of look dorky. It doesn't matter, okay? Because you're gonna feel a lot better. Get the jelly ones, I'm telling you. Besides the knee pads and also Dustin helping carry things in and out, like boxes of flooring and all of that to help my body out, putting the LVP floor cutter on a little rug so I could pull it without scraping the floor and I didn't have to pick it up whenever I wanted to move it was so helpful for me. And it seems like a weird little thing, but I really do recommend it. And I'm also going to let you know all the tools that I used as well. So I have a really big tapping block, and then I have a smaller tapping block. I also have a pull bar and a rubber flooring mallet. You definitely need all of those things, okay? You definitely need all those things. The big tapping block, I swear, was like a game changer, and I saw a lot of videos that were like, it's not worth it, it's not worth it. It's worth it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Highly recommend. The hallway went really quickly, of course, until we got to the door jams, and there was about, 47 bazillion right there. And then also, I didn't do that patch job. That came like that, and I had to like fix that off camera because I was getting really upset with it and it was taking forever. But eventually I got it, and I got, the flooring into this closet and everything. And then these door jams weren't as bad because they're closer together. So since the pieces weren't as long, it was a lot more simple to figure it out. Definitely still took quite a bit of time, but I really thought that I was gonna have a panic attack when I got to this area, and frankly, I think it went fairly quickly. Now, what I'm about to show you might be a little random for this video, but I realized I didn't show you how I disposed of the carpet that we pulled out last time. We got this portable dumpster. It's called a Bagster, and you can get them for like, I think it's like $30 or $40 at the hardware store, and then you pay a fee for them to come and pick it up. It depends on what area that you're in, what the fee is, but we ended up needing two, and it depends on really how long you need it for and whatever, if the portable dumpster is worth it or if you should rent a normal dumpster. I personally like the flexibility of the portable ones because you're not on like a time constraint, because you just call when you're ready for them to pick it up. So that's why I like it, but depending on your project, it might be more affordable for you to rent a dumpster for like a week if you know that you can for sure get it done within that time frame. Anyway, back to the last bedroom. Now, this one sent me. I was like, this room's gonna go so quick. It's gonna be great. No, because I had these little sliver cuts, and then it was like moving everywhere, and they kept coming unlocked because like they were really small. And then I was like, oh my gosh, no. I was like, I really thought that for once I was going to start and finish a room in one day. That's not how it went down. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? It's fine, okay? And then in this room, I actually came across like the biggest issue with the subfloor, and I was really upset about it, but I ended up kind of doing like another version of what I did with the underlayment. In the other part, I just had to layer it like twice and put the underlayment tape and stuff. But yeah, you could see, I'm losing it, y'all. I am freaking losing it. I'm like, I'm just gonna lay here. I laid there on live, I think, for like 20 minutes. and I don't regret it. I don't regret it because I needed to regain my energy. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, okay, I've got to call it for the night because I don't think I can do this anymore. Next day, and let me tell you, wow, it went quick. Taylor Swift put another Sparkle countdown on her website. It does something to me. You know, what can I say? It didn't do as much as the first time because I was like, I'm kind of running out of money. I bought like too many of the variants. I should really maybe spend my money on more renovation items instead of Taylor Swift. So I didn't end up buying that one. So it wasn't as exciting to me. So it didn't go as fast. But you know what? We did end up doing the rest of the floor that day. And spoiler, I didn't have to do crazy sliver cuts up against this wall. And I didn't really know what that was going to look like because I didn't do the math for this room. I only did it for like the areas that all like were really intertwined. And so anyway, I cut all of those the pieces up against the wall. I put them together. I used painter's tape to hold them together, and then Dustin helped me drop them in. And that was really, really helpful. I highly recommend you do it that way. And then I took out all of the spacers and I vacuumed each room, and then I'm using my miter shears to cut some quarter round, and I'm using my brad nailer to go ahead and nail it into place. And I did end up doing like these fancy little corners. I don't really know how to describe it, but it took a lot longer because I kept trying to figure out like how I was getting those cuts, and it took me a while to figure it out. But I will say, I freaking love this Cobalt brad nailer because it's so much more quiet than my other one that I have, and my dogs did not freak out nearly as much. It's a little more heavy, but I think that's why it's more quiet because it has like more power, and like, I don't even know. Whatever magic Cobalt did with that one, heck yeah. Now, I still do need to like obviously caulk all of these and like paint basically everywhere. And yeah, should I have done that before I laid the floors? A non-ADHD person would tell you yes. Even I could tell you yes. But I had to follow the dopamine, and my ADHD said, put in the floors, you need the floors. And honestly, if I would have done paint first, I definitely would not have got the floors done by our housewarming party, because it was last minute, y'all. But I did it, and we had a great time. Anyway, I'm bored of talking now, and I'm sure you guys are bored of listening to me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and show you all the before and afters. Okay, love you, bye.
Have this feeling, haven't felt for so long. Took a hold of me and won't let go. I've been sleeping, caught me off my guard, 'cause you're in my space and now I'm so. Hold me towards you and I cannot fight it. My head's underwater, I try to disguise it. Want you to hold me, though we haven't spoken. I need that something to get me to open. You are only a shot away from me to be my everything. 'Cause you are only a shot away from me to be my everything. You are only a shot away from me to be my everything. 'Cause you are only a shot away from me to be my everything. Shot away.